I first saw the house when I was 11. It was a sagging Victorian relic with blistered white paint, crooked shutters, and windows so clouded they looked blind. It sat at the end of a gravel road that led nowhere, no other houses, no mailboxes, no cars parked out front. Just that one isolated structure, squatting like a forgotten bone. My mother insisted it had always been there. "We've passed that old place 1,000 times," she said, but I didn't remember it, not once, and even then, something deep in my stomach twisted, telling me I shouldn't be seeing it now. I turned away for a second just to blink. And the house seemed closer, only inches, but closer. I said nothing. I was 11, and 11. Olds are supposed to imagine things, so I pretended the house was normal and that the shadow in the top window hadn't lifted its head when I looked at it. It returned. I didn't see the house again for years. Not until I turned 16. I was walking home from school, earbuds in, mind floating between homework and the dull ache of a teenage existence, when I reached the intersection by the abandoned field. There, at the corner where for years there had only been empty grass, stood the house, same peeling paint, same warped porch, same blind windows. I stopped so fast a cyclist behind me swerved and cursed. I stared. The house just sat there, patient and still, as if it had been waiting for me. My phone buzzed. A new message from Mom. "Home, don't be late. Dinner gets cold fast tonight." I looked back and inhaled sharply. The house was closer to the road than before. 2, maybe 3 feet. "Okay," I muttered. "Nope." I walked faster, and every few steps I glanced over my shoulder. The house never moved. Not while I watched, but somehow, without ever seeing it shift, I felt it trailing behind me like a predator, creeping through tall grass. By the time I reached home, my skin was cold and clammy. That night, I dreamed the house stood outside my window, its porch stretching toward me like a grasping hand. Roman 2. The creatures in the walls. The house didn't return again until we moved. My family relocated 2 hours away. A new town. Prevent unnecessary mistakes. I told myself I'd imagined it all. Sleep deprivation, stress, teen paranoia, anything. But on the first morning in the new house, when I pulled open my curtains to see the fresh sunrise, the old Victorian stood at the end of our cul-de-sac. I didn't scream. I couldn't. My throat locked. I stepped closer to the glass. The house wasn't just near. It was facing me, angled slightly as though turning to greet me. And something else was different. There were things moving inside it. I saw shapes behind the windows. Thin, wrong shapes that glided instead of walked. One pressed its face to the glass, or what I thought was its face. An oval smear of darkness with 2 white pinprick eyes glowing like dying stars. It lingered there, unmoving, watching. The entire day I felt them, those creatures, like they were whispering through the walls. My bedroom light flickered. The floorboards creaked with steps that weren't mine. Each time I turned abruptly, I caught a shadow sliding out of sight. At dinner, Mom said, "You're awfully jumpy today. Just tired." I didn't tell her about the house. I didn't want her to think I was losing my mind. That night, the whispering grew louder. It wasn't the sound of wind. It wasn't rodents. It was language, a rustling, skittering language. I buried my head under my pillow. But the voices only grew clearer. "Come back, come back, come back." Roman 3. It wants me. I woke to tapping. 3 soft, steady knocks, not at my door, at my window. I sat up slowly. Outside, lit by the pale moon, the house had crept close. So close its porch now touched the edge of our yard. I could see its rotting boards, warped shingles, and the front door hanging half open like a yawning maw. The tapping grew louder. In the upper window of the house, a creature crawled into view. It was thin as a rail, its limbs too long, its joints bending the wrong way. Its fingers scraped the inside of the windowpane as if longing to escape. And then, impossibly, its face stretched into something like a smile, long, cracked, splitting its skin like tearing cloth. I stumbled backward, tripping over my blanket. Behind me, the bedroom door rattled. Something pressed against it from the hall. A slithering scrape, like nails dragging across wood. The house wasn't outside anymore. It was inside. The walls around me pulsed, the wallpaper swelling as if something crawled beneath it. The corners darkened, shadows pooling like liquid night. Then I heard the words again, "Come back to us. You left us behind." Pure terror stabbed through me. I never lived there. I shouted at the empty room. "I don't belong to you." The whispering paused. "Then you saw us. That is enough." Roman 4. The crawl space the next morning. The house was gone. No trace, no sagging roof, no warped porch, not even an imprint on the grass. My parents were cheerful and oblivious, arguing lightly over coffee, completely unaware of the terror from the night before. I tried to act normal, but the creatures were still there. I heard them in the vents, saw thin hands curl around door frames when I turned my head, felt cold fingers brush the back of my neck when I least expected it. By afternoon, it was unbearable. I needed to confront it, learn what it wanted, so I followed the sound. A steady scratching came from the crawl space beneath our house. I'd always hated that dark, narrow compartment, but the whispers guided me, urging me down the wooden steps, each one groaning beneath my weight. The crawl space smelled of damp earth and molding insulation. I shined a flashlight ahead and almost dropped it. The house's front door was there, not metaphorically, not symbolically. The actual wooden door from the Victorian house stood built into the dirt wall, as if the entire structure had taken root beneath ours. Its doorknob twitched. Slowly, carefully, it began to turn. "No," I whispered, backing away. "No, no, no." The door cracked open, a sliver of darkness spilling out. Cold air rushed past me, carrying with it the faint sound of breathing. The creatures were awake, every one of them. And they were hungry. A hand shot out from the gap, long, skeletal, its nails clicking like beetle shells. I scrambled backward, hitting my head on a low beam, vision blurring. More hands emerged, and eyes. So many eyes. "Come, inside." Running I ran. I don't remember climbing out of the crawl space. I don't remember reaching my room or grabbing the things I stuffed into my backpack. I don't remember leaving a note or calling for help. I just ran, past the trees, past the bus stop, past the entire neighborhood until the houses blurred and my lungs burned. But after 20 minutes, I stopped. Because standing at the corner of an unfamiliar road blocking my path was the house. Its windows stared at me like dead eyes. The front door swung wide, inviting me into its hollow throat. The creatures stood on the porch, hunched and trembling with anticipation. Their mouths, if those writhing slits were mouths, opened and closed in silent hunger. I stepped backward. The house stepped forward. Yes, it stepped. The entire structure lifted off the ground, dragging itself closer on warped wooden limbs that sprouted from its foundation like spider legs. My scream lodged in my throat. I turned and fled into the woods. Branches slapped my face. Roots snagged my shoes. My legs burned, but I kept running, guided only by instinct and terror. Behind me, trees snapped. Wood scraped against wood. The house crashed through the forest, tearing aside bushes and trunks, its porch stretching like a jaw. "You belong with us." The voices chased me, shrill and overlapping. I burst into a clearing and stumbled to the ground. Silence for a heartbeat. I thought it had stopped. Then the trees in front of me folded outward like paper as the house forced its way into the clearing. It towered over me now, massive, rotting, alive. I closed my eyes, choking on fear. The choice, but when I opened them again, the house wasn't moving. Its creatures had frozen mid-crawl, their eyes locked on me. Something in their faces, something ancient and sorrowful shifted. Then I understood. They weren't trying to kill me. They wanted me to join them, to live inside that horrible, shifting structure, to be part of whatever nightmare realm it came from. And if I refused, they would keep following me forever. My heart pounded, my brain screamed to run, but a quieter voice, small and terrified, whispered something else. This only began when you noticed it. If you stop acknowledging it, maybe it loses power. I forced myself to breathe. Then I did something I never expected of myself. I stood up and I turned away. Behind me, the creatures shrieked, their voices cracking like broken bones. The ground trembled, the air grew cold, but I kept walking. I didn't look back, not once. With every step, the screams faded. The trembling softened, the cold lifted. By the time I emerged from the woods, the world was still again. Romans 7, epilogue that was 7 months ago. I haven't seen the house since. but sometimes when I walk home at dusk, I feel the air change. A quiet shift, a subtle stillness, and I know it's near, lurking just beyond my vision, waiting for me to turn my head. I won't, I've learned its rules. The house only exists when I look at it, so I never look for it at all. Even though, some nights, I hear faint tapping at my window, 3 soft knocks, always 3, and I lie perfectly still, eyes closed, refusing to acknowledge the house that still follows me. Waiting for the day I slip and look back,